And welcome to SVG-TV News for Wednesday, August 12, 2015. I'm Lauren Fraser with the details. At a cost of $1.2 million, the Unity Labour Party is now boasting of being the official owner of the building which housed its headquarters for years, encumbrance-free. Speaking at the official rebranding ceremony earlier today for the building at Murray's Road, now coined Labour House, leader of the ULP and Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves says there are 3 trustees to the building, along with him in the persons of Sir Vincent Beach, Senator Julian Francis, and Sir Louis Straker. The Prime Minister says the 1,500 square foot property with deed number 2047 of 2015 was acquired from previous owner Lionel Coombs on August 5th. Dr. Gonsalves says while there was some controversy in the media and questions were raised earlier this year about payments for rental of the said building, he can boast that the ULP did not ask for any waivers in purchasing the building.
Not one nail, not one tile, not one louvers, not one piece of galvanized or lumber concrete, which has come by way of the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I would like the leadership of the NDP to make such a declaration in relation to their headquarters. And I invite them so to make it. This property, as the deed would indicate, and I would give you the number of the deed so you can look it up yourself. Number 2047 of 2015. The size of the land is 15,000 square feet, more or less. And we have buildings thereon. And the purchase price is $1.2 million. Land which is bounded or located on the front of the main road into Kingston. Land is very expensive land.
According to Dr. Gonsalves, the purchasing of the ULP headquarters building was legitimately done, explaining that the ULP paid upfront more than half the cost of the building, and the mortgage is being supported by his personal property at French's, which is co-owned by his wife, Eloise Gonsalves.
Our lawyers passed the check to their lawyers for the remainder of the purchase price, and we registered this deed on the 5th of August. But we completed within the time that we said that we will be completed. We paid more than half of this money to the bank, and Eloise and I borrowed the balance. I wanted this property to be free of any encumbrance, and it is free of any encumbrance.
In addition, Dr. Gonsalves explains that the acquisition of the building is part of a promise to ensure that there is a permanent home for the ULP. The Prime Minister also pledges to have his party more organized and functional.
We will ensure a smooth and organized transition to the next generation of leadership. And we ain't going to have any confusion like you had at Park in 2000. Yeah? We're not going to have that confusion as happened with the NDP. It will be done in a disciplined and organized, democratic manner, the way in which this party has built up its credibility and has shown its purpose, and what it stands for.
The leader of the ULP says the rebranding ceremony forms part of the party's plan to get persons in gear for the campaign leading up to the next general elections, and again told Vincentians to get on their marks.
We will have, Julian calls it a launch. Kickoff. Well, it's a kickoff, it's a pre-launch. It is, we have said before, on your marks, now we getting set. The real thing start when we say go. When the good Lord answers me in the way Eli had advised Samuel, speak, Lord, your servant Ralph is listening. So let us get the sequence right.
Leader of the Democratic Republican Party, the DRP, Anissa Batiste, says while she will continue to do research and advocate for the needs of all people, including those of Garifuna descent, there are major issues confronting the people of SVG that must be addressed. Batiste, in an interview with SVG-TV News, says the conditions of health and sporting facilities in the most northern areas of the country are of great concern to her. The DRP leader also expressed concern over the condition of the burial sites across SVG.
So that when their relatives die, they can comfortably bury them. They've complained to me for years that now when they're burying persons, they're digging up persons' bones and so on, remains, because there's not enough space. And I have spoken to individuals who were willing to sell land to extend the cemetery to the government, and that has not been done as yet. The hard court that is supposed to provide some recreation for the people, the fences are all broken down and rusted. The poles where you're supposed to be able to make your goals, throw your balls in basketball and netball, there are no nets in some cases. I mean, when you look at the clinic that serves the community, health care that's provided from that point, you should see the state of the door at the clinic. It's broken down, it's in a terrible condition. These are simple, basic social issues that need to be addressed right now and right here for Garifuna citizens of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, right here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And for me, this ought to be our focus as well. I fear that the focus is being moved away to another issue, and the way it has been construed for political gain.
Batiste also made an appeal for interested persons to step up as DRP candidates to represent their respective constituencies in the upcoming general elections.
We are encouraging persons to join us and help us to continue to make up our candidate team, which we are currently doing. Come and join us and let us create and provide that genuine alternative that St. Vincent and the Grenadines so desperately needs in the face of all this partisan political confusion that removes the focus from the concerns and the welfare of the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Political parties here are being encouraged to put aside their differences and be unprejudiced when discussing the subject of honorary citizenship for Garifuna people across the world. Historian and headmaster of the St. Vincent Grammar School, Curtis King, while speaking on Sunday's Hits Talk program, says the two main political parties here should host a meeting involving the public to thoroughly discuss the subject. King says some politicians joined the fight for reparations for political gains, while many persons have been leading the cause years before. King adds that the proposal for honorary citizenship is a good one, and it is his belief that Garifunas are entitled to full citizenship in SVG, no more, no less.
What I know, when you offer citizenship, as I know, while every single person can apply under the conditions, it doesn't mean that all, whether it's 300 or 400 or 700 persons will do so. Okay? I look at it from that kind of context, that I want to make this thing meaningful. So those brothers and sisters who wish to return would know that there's a constitutional provision that would allow them to do so, which is opposed to, in my view, And this now I'm just looking at this. Let us say this is the other side. That you are saying that, look, I mean, everybody, we are for everybody on earth citizenship. There's me. I figure these people entitled to. They don't.
Historian Dr. Adrian Fraser says it is his belief that full citizenship for Garifuna is not something that Vincentians are prepared for. However, he says if the terms of the honorary citizenship proposal are clearly laid out, eventually everyone will come to accept the plan.
Dealing with a real situation, we're dealing with a St. Vincent, we know what is involved in that. I see this whole thing as a process, and also being in mind what Senator Buti said earlier. Sorry about that. No, but you still said it earlier. What she said earlier about is that we're just getting into something we're not fully aware of what is going on. We're just developing an understanding. People are just being educated about it. So I see we have had initial contacts. There's a process. We've reached a stage where we're talking about honorary citizenship. And as most people have suggested, we do not know what what is involved in that, and I think that is critical, because maybe what is involved in it might remove those fears while we aim down the road for full citizenship. Full citizenship. So it's a part of a process.
The National Labour Congress today commenced a two-day leadership workshop for the executives of its affiliates in hopes of assisting them to become better leaders. General Secretary of the National Labour Congress, Joy Matthews, says the workshop not only seeks to fulfill the organization's social objective of bringing together affiliates, but also represents the organization's commitment to deal with environmental changes, procedures and methods of work, legislative changes, technological and manpower changes.
As a trade union, we have to deal with issues such as contract workers, employer statics, the harsh economic situation, which in most times results in retrenchments, wage freezes, HIV/AIDS, and other non-communicable diseases. So it is important that we keep abreast of and devise ways to deal with these issues that threatens our function and existence. For the next 2 days, we'll delve a bit into our history, cognizant of the fact that the history informs our future, and deal with issues that are impacting on us today and can have serious repercussions for the future. So on behalf of the National Executive, let me take this opportunity to welcome you to this, our leadership workshop. We expect you to participate fully.
Minister of Labour with responsibility for trade unions, Maxwell Charles, says leadership is vital to the survival of any trade union and stressed the importance of gaining employees' trust in successful leadership.
And it takes all of us in a particular organization working together. And when this happens, we assure that such an organization, be it a trade union, be it a ministry, this would enhance productivity. All this doesn't happen by accident. It is your role to make things work, to achieve your objectives. But a leader, a good leader, must have clear objectives, which must be communicated to those under him or his associates. This helps you, as a leader, to chart the way forward. An executive and a leader must earn the trust of his associates.
Charles also encouraged the National Labour Congress to continue its work with trade unions here and challenged the workshop participants to take advantage of the opportunity to develop themselves and their organizations, which will lead to the strengthening of both the public and private sectors.
And if we can have them being successful by being a good leader, then such an organization can grow from strength to strength and produce more. So handle your associates with care. Get them motivated. Get them goal-oriented. Get them trained. Get them cooperating with one another. The result? Better productivity, better use of resources, a stronger and a more vibrant organization, be it in the public sector, be it in the private sector. I do hope today and tomorrow that what you would learn here would help to make our employees, our trade union movement stronger and better, so that St. Vincent and the Grenadines can continue on its path of national development.
The National Council of Women, in collaboration with the Ministry of National Mobilization and Gender Affairs, yesterday hosted a one-day workshop on women's rights, child care and adoption in an effort to help women here better understand the new Domestic Act along with the Child Care and Protection Act. The workshop, which was held under the theme Let Women Be Seen and Heard, marks the third in a series of Trainer of Trainers workshops conducted under the World Association for Christian Communication, or WACC project. President of the National Council of Women, the NCW, Beverly Richards, says it is important to train women and girls to become social media activists.
Program would be that we'll have society speak out in the interest of women. And I said society because we want the men speaking too. That's why you notice that we have men participants, and in the correspondence that was sent out, I specified that male participants will be welcome, because people think, well, it's a woman thing. So the Council envisions networking and coalition building with media practitioners, NGOs, policymakers, and other stakeholders. Overall, we are aiming at empowering women to strengthen their courage and to create a movement of change to stand for the rights of women and girls and eliminate violence against women and the girl child.
And barrister at law Rene Batiste says the Domestic Act was constructed on the basis of harmonization of the family laws and comprises of 4 parts: preliminary, protection orders, police powers of entry and arrest, and miscellaneous. Batiste further states that the new law defines certain terms that were not defined in previous legislation.
For example, who is an abuser? In the criminal law, there is nothing called an abuser. That was never defined before. And so an abuser is a person against whom a report is made under this law. Also, an applicant. Normally in laws, it just says the applicant shall. In some cases, they do not define who this applicant is going to be. In this law, that applicant has been defined. Child, because there are multiplicity of laws, and we have what is called the Age of Majority Act, which says you are a child until you're 18. But under the Maintenance Act, you're a child for the purposes of maintenance to the age of 16. Under the Matrimonial Causes Act, which deals with divorce and so on, you're a child of the family possibly up to the age of 25. Why? Because if you are going to school or university, the family is responsible for your maintenance.
Batiste adds that some persons in society find it difficult to cope with legal definitions as they fail to learn them. More specifically, Batiste says when adopting children, it is essential that the necessary paperwork is formalized and things are not taken by word of mouth.
An adopted child. Now we have a problem in our society. There are people who normally say, this is my adopted child. And you ask them, when were they adopted? Well, I have she since she's small. You have nothing to show that this child was adopted. A child is adopted when you have a special type of birth certificate which says the child is adopted. So please, sometimes you get a little worried that in advising people, because in their society or communities they have been accustomed to their own definitions. They find it difficult to cope with the legal definition. Now, you want the law to protect you, so you can't be saying 6 and saying 3. The law is the thing that it is written, and it's very clear most of the times in its interpretation.
Mental health residents will soon have refurbished and upgraded facilities. This as work continues across the country as part of the over $4 million health sector modernization project funded under the European Union's 10th EDF program. Minister of Health Clayton Bergen, who was recently part of a contingent who toured various health facilities under construction, including the Mental Health Center, says he's pleased with the progress and level of work being carried out on the facility.
So I'm happy with the progress that is being made here. If you would have seen it, what it was like before, and see it now, you'll see the real transformation. A lot of transformation has taken place here. And this building is over 80 years old, so it was challenging to the contractor to get it to the stage where you are. And when the folks see the renovative work that has been done, I think Vincent and Hussein it will be pleased with what we have been doing.
The health minister, however, expressed concern with a number of young men whom he says have been challenged by mental health issues resulting from drug abuse.
Mainly to the young men, because if you were to visit the institution, you'll see a lot of young men in this institution, and it's not because of, say, a mental problem that may have occurred because of stress, pressure, and other thing. It's because of the use of illicit substances, and we want to tell them to be careful with the lifestyle so that they could be productive outside of, from behind walls and into society. So as the area rep, I am pleased and happy that I have been the one to start the process here, and then it will be completed under my, with my my post who will be coming, because I would be his predecessor, so Camilo Gonsalve, he would be the one here when it is completed.
A call is being made for young Vincentians to get more involved in the field of information technology, or IT, for the further development of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Director of the National Telecommunications Regulatory Commission, the NTRC, Apollo Knight, says IT is a field that has been evolving over the past years, will continue to evolve, and as a result, Vincentian youths need to get on board with the movement. Knights was at the time speaking at Monday's opening of the National Public Library's Teen Helping Young People Excel or HYPE program, which is being held under the theme Techno Teens Web Design and will run until Friday, August 21st, 2015. The NTRC director says pursuing IT as a career path can lead to numerous job opportunities.
I believe you'll be concentrating on web design for the summer course. The skills you'll learn are also very applicable to building software applications and mobile applications in particular. As an example, Facebook started as a web application, as a website, then expanded to include a mobile application thereafter. The world is now moving to connection of everything, be it people or things, in what they're calling the Internet of Things, which is now current about the connecting cars, your washing machine, other things in your household. This will not be possible without the software to run these equipment, as well as connectivity in form of the internet. So you need the software and you need the connectivity.
Rounding out the local stories, the Basil Charles Educational Foundation today presented a total of 5 scholarships and bursaries to Vincentian students. The recipients of the 3 full scholarships are Jada Chambers of Barrowley, Saviola Blake of Diamond Village, and Calicia Rihanna Swift of Richland Park, while the bursaries were awarded to Khalid Brown of Bayaboo and Rihanna Phillips of Diamond Village. Chairperson of the foundation, Basil Charles, says his organization is pleased to be assisting the students in their educational development and explains that the 5 students were selected after careful assessment of the neediest and most vulnerable applicants. Charles urged the students to work hard and to take full advantage of the opportunity given.
We have 3 persons who got full-time scholarships and 2 bursaries. We get a number of children who apply to their parents and to different things, and we take time to go through all these different applications and we pick who we think are the most needed children. We are not perfect in this way, and but we think these people, first of all, they're good. Their results are good. After chatting with their parents or the people who look after them, we think they deserve our help. These are how we come to these children with help.
Moreover, Charles advised the students to be wise when choosing a career path, adding that too often students are encouraged by their parents to become doctors and lawyers. Charles adds that though nothing is wrong with becoming lawyers and doctors, there are already many lawyers in SVG, and it takes a total of 8 years to complete a medical degree. Charles explains that there are many professions that hold the potential of greatly improving the economy and lives of the people of this country.
I think that every kid should know it takes 8 years before you actually become a doctor and actually could make money of any kind. Parents should help their kids to look for a profession that is actually going to benefit them in a rewarding way. Also, to be a doctor, you have to be very, very bright. You have to actually have very good maths. And I'm not discouraging people from being a doctor. I mean, on the contrary, I think these are good professions. But what I would like to see is there's one of the most amazing phenomena in the last maybe 20 years, but even expanded into the last 10 years, is IT. I mean, IT is actually changing the way we did everything, and it's going to continue to change from year to year, generation to generation. It's not going back